In this video, we're going to go over Logic Practice 2, Moving Objects. The goal of this video is to talk about how we can use events based off of other objects to move objects throughout our world. We'll talk about our different transformation tools that we can move an object, we can rotate an object, we can just transform an object, so we either use move, rotate, or scale in order to have this level able to be completed by a player. Another big concept of this practice will be how we have to make objects movable in order to move them. So the first task says when the character hits the up box, set the task 1 platform's location to 50, negative 550. Throughout all these practices, there's going to be language that's trying to tell you which nodes to be using to complete the task, and it's also going to give you the coordinates required or the degrees of rotation required to complete the challenge. So the first one says when the character hits the up box, this is the up box right here, I can find its name in the world outliner. I am going to bring it into my level blueprint. Right click on actor hit, because that's the first event it's asking me to do. And I am going to set location of platform number 1. So platform number 1 can be found right there. Again, I could find this in my world outliner. I could search for it if I was having a hard time finding it. Task 1 right there. I am then going to right click, reference it, and work through the required logic. It says set the platform's location. So if I do set location, I get some kind of options of different ways I want to do this. Now the language in the practice is referring to an actor, and it's setting the actor's location. This node right here is going to be our best option. Typically your practices will give hints to which nodes you're looking to use. You can refer to the top of the documents for those hints. Once I click this, I have the option to have this run when I hit the up box. I'm going to set the new location in my XYZ coordinates to be what it asks me to set it to, 50, negative 500, 50. And then I'm going to test it. So I'll hit play, I'll run into here, I'll hit my box, and nothing happens. Now Unreal, sometimes it's not very helpful, other times it is very helpful. And this warning pops up right here. It says mobility of an object. And it's a little hard to get to the first time, but if you scroll to the side, it starts to give you more information. Task 1 platform, okay, that was something I was trying to use. Static mesh component has to be movable if you'd like to move it. If you'd like to move this thing, you need to make it movable. That's a pretty straightforward warning that it's given me. In order to make an object movable, we have to go into its details and change its mobility to be movable. So I'm going to make sure I'm selecting the right object, which I am right here, task 1 platform. I'm going to go to its mobility and make it movable. Now if I go back and test this, I hit jump, I have this platform right here. I can move on to my rotate. My rotate is going to start with this rotate box. I'm going to right click, I'm going to do on actor hit, confirming that I have the right object I'm trying to hit. I'm then going to refer to the object that I want to do something to, which is this platform, task number 2 platform. I'm going to make it movable, because I know if I would like to move it, it needs to be movable. I am then going to reference it in my world, and I'm going to use the proper node. It says add 30 degrees of world rotation over the x-axis. So I'm going to drag off of here, and I'm going to type in add world rotation. For this task, I am not trying to set rotation to be 30. I'm trying to add 30 degrees of rotation every time I hit that box. If I'll preview in here, go in here, and I hit this now the first time I hit it, it's at 30, then we're at 60, then we're at 90. I can now access that second platform right here. This is gathering whatever its current rotation is and adding 30 to it. If I added something like an event tick to this to have it be running every tick, you'll be able to see it's spinning around and around and around because every tick it's adding 30 degrees of rotation to this. That's kind of an extreme rotation. If we shrink that to something a little bit smaller, maybe, might be a little bit easier to follow. Perfect. So you can kind of see it spinning and spinning and spinning in this rotation. Cool. We don't want that though. We want to leave it on the hit of the rotate box. Next task says when the character overlaps task 3 trigger box. Task 3 trigger box can be found right in here. I could have searched for that. You know, a lot of these practices, it's going to be really just like the next thing that you're using. So there's a logical order to it. I'm going to right click, type in begin overlap, confirming that's the right trigger box. And then it will ask me for task 3 platform. Where? Well, I don't know where task 3 platform is right now. I could search around my world if I wanted to, or I can search for it in my outliner. So I can type in task 3, and then I find it right here. I click it, it shows it's over here. I could double click right there, or hit the F key, and it'll take me to that platform. Now, I actually don't need to like see it. I probably want to make sure it is a platform, that's the right name, all that makes sense. But what I really want to do is reference it into my blueprint. So I'm going to right click, reference it into my blueprint. Now this time, the task is asking me to set the transform. Well, if I drag off of here and I type in set actor transform, I am able to adjust this object. Before I adjust it, I want to confirm that it's movable. It is. This one just happens to be movable out of the gate. I now have to somehow add a location, rotation, scale to this pin right here. Transform is an awesome node because it allows us to change any of the transformation settings. So I can change its location, I can change its rotation, or I can change its scale, all from a single location. But in order to do that, I need to drag off of this pen and make a new transform. I could type make transform if I wanted to, but because it's a very common thing to do with a transform is make a transform, it'll pop up right there for you. I can access any of those transformation settings I just talked about, location, rotation, or scale. Your assignment says to do 50, negative 16, 50. I'm using tab to cycle through those. It's saying to leave the rotations at 0 and the scales at 1, so 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. As I hit play, I can check it out over here now. Looks like I didn't change something for my add offset. Oh, I left it at 5. I'm actually going to update it to 90, so I only have to hit it one time as I'm demoing, but that should be 30. Perfect. I can make this jump usually. Perfect. And that platform now exists for me right there. Again, this node is pretty cool. I can, play around with like increasing the scale of an object if I wanted to. I could rotate it if I wanted to. All of these are settings that I can change from that single location. So I hit that. Nope. Perfect. And now it's a little bit larger and sideways. But again, I don't want that. I want to leave this at 0, 1, 1, 1. Perfect. On to the next task. Each time the character jumps or begins overlap in the task 4 trigger box, add actor world offset to move the wall 50 in the Z direction. That's a lot of words, but all those words are intended to let you know what you're trying to do and the specific node. So I'm going to click this overlap. Right click, begin, overlap. I am then going to reference the wall, which is right here. Task 4 wall, perfect. Right click, reference the wall. I am then going to add actor world offset. World offset gives you a delta location, which is a change location. And I'm going to adjust it to be 50 in the Z direction of the world. So 50, Z is going to be up and down. It's going to slide it up this Z axis 50. So it's going to go from 50 to 100 to 150 to 200, so on and so forth every time I overlap that. Before I try it, I want to make sure my wall is movable. And I can work my way to this platform to try it. Not too good. Perfect. Perfect. Now the first time I hit it goes up 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. And I should be able to get through there to get it. On to our final task. The character overlaps the final trigger box. We are going to destroy or delay half a second, destroy the character, delay a second, and then reload the level. This is going to be the reoccurring final task of all of these practices. Begin overlap. I am going to delay a half a second. That just kind of lets the player enjoy that they got to the end of the level for just a little bit. Then I am going to destroy actor. My target is going to be the other actor, which is the character. Then I am going to delay 1 more second, and then open the level by object reference, and our next level is going to be input offsets right here. Now as I go and play this, what's going to happen? I get my rotate here. Perfect, perfect. I can go here, here, make the jump. Trigger box is here, character goes away, loads in the next level. A few different ways you could do this here. You know, maybe you want to destroy the star and then the character, right? It's all about finding different ways to give player feedback that something happened before loading into the next level. We talked about the last assignment, how you might want to use like sound effects here, or some sort of widget to give information that they beat the level. But that is practice number 2.